the mission got adopted years ago, and it's researching, preserving, educating, and displaying the history of Federal Way.
Well, I love history and old stuff. I like working with it and showing it off, and just the stories behind it. It's the stories that are so fascinating to me and I think we're quickly losing them. So part of the goal is to secure those stories and educate people as to what it was like and how people got along.
The Denny cabin was originally built as a real estate office for one of Seattle's pioneers, David Denny. He was one of a group of three that landed on Alki Point in 1851.
One of the very first activities of the Historical Society and the individuals leading it then was to figure out how to keep these cabins because they were in the process of getting destroyed.
This cabin had to be moved or it was going to be torn down.
We have this well documented in I brought my book here, but it's not my book, it's the Historical Society book on the Denny cabin.
We came up with a plan for the restoration effort, and we sought grant funding, and we received some from For Culture, and for that we were very grateful.
I appreciate more and more how many volunteers worked on the restoration of those cabins, and my effort right now, along with the Historical Society, is to make sure those cabins continue to be available to the public and are structurally sound. The Historical Society was formed in 1988, and as I read back on that time, the state of Washington was just in the process of celebrating their 100 years. This building, the Denny cabin, was built in 1889, which is also the same year that there was a great fire in Seattle, which burned everything down. So it's a very historic year, and it's kind of interesting that that Denny cabin is now in Federal Way, and won't be long before it'll have been in Federal Way longer than it was in Seattle.
It does contextualize some of the novelty and amenities that we have as, people living in 2025 here,
And that's why we're putting a new roof on the Denny cabin, and we're evaluating the Barker cabin to make sure that roof stays viable. But that roof is a little different, unique structure because it was hand split cedar shakes. But if you go to see those cabins, you'll find they're both very unique, and we hope they're there for the next 100 years.
So what is happening now is that to preserve all the restoration effort that has gone into the Denny cabin up to this point in time, we need to replace the roof. And that's what's being undertaken at this time.
It doesn't matter how nice the amenities are inside the building if the roof is not solid. And if you want to look at that in the context of ecology, we look at some of these large mature trees that we have, the Douglas firs, the Sitka spruce, the broadleaf maples and whatnot. Those form the roof of the forest. So if you don't have a big healthy canopy like that, the forest itself is going to suffer. You're going to have reduced ecological habitat. You're going to have reduced viability for the forest. You're going to have reduced coverage for things like streams and watersheds and all this stuff. So the roof in so many ways is imperative as a structural component to anything.
This document, written by Dick Castor, is an excellent history of the Denny cabin. He's done several of these, one for the Barker cabin, but if you're interested in the details, instead of me telling you about them, go to our website, federalwayhistory.org, and look under articles, and you'll find this document. You don't have to pay for it. It's all free.
We've got a great amenity, and it's not going to stick around if we don't take care of it. So
you can learn all about the Denny cabin, and you'll understand the difficulty and the challenges to have that cabin be what it is today.
Every time you're in that park, it's a different experience. You might run into a Cooper's hawk. You might run into a barred owl. You might see the red-legged frogs. You may not see anything at all, but oftentimes you'll experience it through your ears or through your nose. And regardless of the season, you're going to have a different experience.
But there's a lot of green spaces here and a lot of parks. A lot of it hasn't even been developed. But if you go to the High Lobos wetlands and you walk by the Denny cabin, you can you can get out of, you don't have to leave town and go up to Mount Rainier to experience some outdoors.
And we have an opportunity to discuss the value of ecology, the value of experiencing our wildlands.
We don't have mountains to climb, but there's nice trails to walk, and they're pretty relatively flat versus up and down hills.
Well, I'd encourage people to come visit us. Try some hands-on activities. Bring your children. Bring your grandchildren. You know, if you have stories to tell, let's get them down and let's find out what we're missing, and also enjoy what we have.
We had a volunteer that did some gardening work, landscaping around our Heritage Center. I'm sure there's any number of other items that people that may have a particular area of interest, you know, can contribute to the Historical Society. I do get value from my contributions.